Welcome back to another episode, or the first episode, or actually technically, if we're being honest, episode 7 of the What's in Your Head podcast. And I know many of you are like, well, what the hell happened to the Waterman and D-Train Show podcast? And well, to be honest with you, as we've talked over the last few weeks, Dave has been fighting family health issues and hasn't been able to join us on a regular basis. And with this COVID-19 stuff, he doesn't have the technical ability to be here like the rest of us. And so the fact that we're getting new followers and new viewers every day, Gordon and I were talking, and we thought it's kind of silly to have a podcast named after two people when one of those two people is not here all the time. And so nothing has changed but the name. Ain't shit changed but the month of year. Well, ain't anything changed but just the name. Hopefully after Dave gets done dealing with all the things he's dealing with, he can come back. We won't change the name back, but he can come back, or we'll just sort things out as we go. Kind of like with my OBS tonight, it keeps resizing all my damn screens, which I don't know why. And so I'm fighting that while trying to talk. But we are back, and joining us now from Columbus, Ohio. Are you in Grove City, Gary?
Yep.
From Grove City, Ohio.
Left, huh? Never left. I'm such a loser.
You lifer.
What happened there, fella?
There's no reason to leave.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly. It's broke, but just the wheel hadn't fallen off yet.
I haven't been back to Grove City in well over 10 years. I probably wouldn't even recognize it anymore.
No, you wouldn't. It's just the corner of White Road and Hoover Road is so different. Everything.
So has it lost the parlance of Grove Tucky?
Yeah, I mean, there's still the other side of the tracks in Grove City, which Grove City literally has another side of the tracks, when you're going downtown Grove City and you hit those railroad tracks, and it's just like, where am I?
I lived in a house shortly that was right next to those railroad tracks, if they're the ones I'm thinking you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Not to get too local on a worldwide podcast, but the other thing you wouldn't recognize, Orders Road no longer goes to Hoover by the bridge. You now have to go through the neighborhood next to the high school to get to Orders Road, which is where my daughter used to live. But real quick, back to answer an OG5 question. Yes, it's now called the What's in Your Head podcast. All of your favorite episodes of the Waterman D-Train Show will still be on the website. Matter of fact, I was telling Gordon, we're going to keep all those up there, and what we'll do is for the What's in Your Head podcast, we're going to call this season 2. So after 104 episodes of season 1, now this is season 2, episode 1, and you'll still be able to download all of them on iTunes. And hopefully, what I did is I went into iTunes today, or into my RSS feed. I think that's what it's called. No, simple. Anyhow, whatever. I went to the feed and I just simply changed the name and the description. So hopefully you shouldn't have to resubscribe to anything. We should still show up on the same feed on your, if you're using Apple Podcasts, if you're using Google Music, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. Hopefully everything stays the same. The logo will change. We are kind of using a little generic logo that looks similar to the Waterman D-Train Show, and once again, OBS just resized my screen. I just switched. Part of the reason we're temporarily using that logo is, one, I spent like 4 days trying to come up with a cool logo, and I just wasn't getting there. And two, for at least, 3 or 4 episodes, we want people to see that logo and say, hey, that looks like the Waterman D-Train Show, and know that they're at the right place, and we will change it to a brand new logo shortly. But it just didn't make any sense to have a show named after someone who can't be here. Especially with the COVID-19, we're not sure how long that's going to happen. So it is what it is. We're going to keep bringing you entertainment, keep bringing you shows, and we're going to continue to grow this thing. And after the COVID-19 hopefully goes away, if Dave's...
hopefully sooner than later.
If Dave's still focusing on other things, we will try, I'll just audition some new co-hosts and we'll bring some people in. But yeah, we're just going to keep on trucking on and keep doing our thing.
Hey, speaking of that, and I think that's good. I've been working on some things. I don't want to throw out 5 titles.
Okay.
4 titles. These are things that I am working on. I know I keep promising them. One of them is Falcon Shotgun Shells. The next title is Bamboozled. The third title is, this is one I worked on today, You Ain't No Plumber. So that's going to be an interesting video. And then I have the half-ass steak sandwich.
How did your rubber seal replacement go today?
We will find
good,
out
huh?
later in the video.
Oh, okay. You're saving it for the
But I
analog
had to go
410
out
channel?
twice today. I had to go out into Coronaville twice today. And I will say this, Lowe's was effing packed.
Dude, what is going on at these you know, what do you call what do you call a stepsister whose father is, well, sadly her father passed away, but before he passed away, he got a divorce from our mother. So is she an ex-stepsister? But anyhow, she was posting on her Instagram photos of these long lines in Florence, Kentucky, of people standing out of Home Depot not doing the 6 feet of separation. And it's like, are these people buying paint? What are you doing in Home Depot? I mean, I get
huffing paint.
I get the
eating paint chips.
I get the desire to try to knock things off your honey-do list, but that desire for me ends when I pull into the parking lot and I see a 45-minute wait to get in, like someone's selling concert tickets. I'm going home.
Goddamn COVID ain't getting me.
I don't know if maybe word got out that they just got 2 trucks of toilet paper in and people are lining up or what, but I just don't get it. And
I think Home Depot's limiting the amount of people in their store now, and that's probably it. But they're not lining up properly outside. Now it's just
but even still, if you're first and foremost, if you're a contractor, they should let you go in down at the contractor doors and let you get your shit.
Contractors only.
Yeah, let you get your. Maybe they should do it like they're doing with the old folks at the grocery store. For the first 2 hours of business, it's contractors only. Let them get their stuff, and then you DIY. I always mess it up. It's do it yourself. It's DIY. I always want to say DYI, which I don't know what that stands for. But Gary, we know Michigan is popping up higher and higher on the death toll. Yeah. What's things like in Ohio right now? I mean, well, first and foremost, you live in basically the suburb of Columbus. If you're driving up 70. Right. I want to say 75 because that's what it is here in Florida, but it turns into 71 outside of Cincinnati. If you drive right up to 71, you're in downtown Columbus, and that's a huge population. What is things like right now with the COVID and the separation? Are people actually doing the 6 foot, or are they just acting like nothing's going on?
Well, I shop at Meijer and unfortunately Walmart, and they do have little spaces on the ground that space out 6 feet to where you're supposed to stand here, yada yada, and it seems to be working. I would say the strangest thing is walking through a grocery store and just the looks everybody give you.
Yeah,
they're just like,
well, one, you look like a mad scientist. So
everybody like, what's he doing?
Now is everybody all masked up now out there?
No, not yet. I mean, they just. I think the CDC just put that out that you're supposed to be masked up with a cloth mask at this point when you go out in public, but good luck getting them. So it's like, if you have to go out, you have to go out, to get groceries or toilet paper or gas or whatever, whatever essentials you may need. But I've definitely seen a fair share of masks out. So.
Well, interestingly enough, before this whole thing started, Tom Hanks' son Colin started what you call Hanks Chiefs. He sells like $50 handkerchiefs. I follow him on Instagram.
That's fucking awesome.
And he posted a video. If you take his handkerchiefs are thick, but if you like maybe double layered in a normal bandana and you fold it into 3, right? Kind of like you're going to do a cholo headband.
Yeah.
And then you put 2 get your girlfriend or your wife's hair rubber bands, slide those on, and then fold the ends in, and then you can put it over your mouth and put the rubber bands around your ears, and it's a homemade mask using bandanas or handkerchiefs.
And those rubber bands shouldn't be hard to find because anybody's got a wife knows they're all over the house anyway.
Yeah, just look on your bed. You'll see 6 of them are looking the crack of your couch and move the vibrator out of the way, and then you'll find them in there too. Now, being down here in Florida, one of the things, a lot of the fishermen and boaters, we have those neck gaskets that go in your neck. You see them wear them on Survivor a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can actually pull them up over your face and over your head, make a hood. I actually have 2 of those, and so I've been wearing that one. And I'll tell you what, it's Publix, for example, they're really trying to take care of their employees. They actually put in glass, just a little pane of glass right in front of the cashier when you're talking to them. But the thing is, yeah, it's basically a sneeze guard at a salad bar. But the thing is, it's vertical and it's right in front of them. But then you got to walk down here next to the bagger to use the credit card swiper, and there's no glass there. So it's kind of a 6 one, half dozen the other. But I had to go to Dollar General tonight to get some catastrophe. I boiled some tea tonight, And much to my dismay, I discovered that our iced tea pitcher's gone.
Oh shit.
And I couldn't, bring myself to dump iced tea down the sink. So I had to venture. I mean, what do you do in that situation? I mean, you got
This is an essential mission, man.
yeah, you got a nice thing of iced tea here. Well, it's hot
Tea's
tea at
important.
this point. And, you don't have a pitcher. So you got to go out into the wasteland, into the zombie world. And so I went down to Dollar General, and there's still these young cats who just act like it's vacation time. I got my rubber gloves on. I got my mask on. I'm waiting in line. This cat's like getting real close to me, looking at candy and shit. And I looked at the cashier. I'm like, "You guys been staying super busy, huh?" He goes, "Yeah, I wish some people would stay home."
Some people need to stay home.
I was like, "Yeah." I said it aloud. I was like, "Yeah, it's like some people acting like this still isn't a problem." I said, that opinion changes when you have people in your social circles who have either died from this or is in the ICU, which I'm experiencing both of them. It's like, I just don't get it. I mean, I guess maybe the problem is these cats aren't watching the news. They're not staying. They don't know that, or they just don't care. I don't know. It's just weird. And now I'm not a full-time mask guy. I'll cover it down. Like when I'm walking, if I'm walking down the aisle and there's no one there, I'll have it down. But if I'm walking down the aisle and there's like 4 people and I got to do the slalom, then I'll pull it up, slalom around them, get past them, and then pull it back down. Because as Gordon pointed out
Kind of
last
hard
week,
to social distance down those aisles, isn't it?
if you flew in from another land and you turn on this podcast, you'd say, I know what glasses are in style right now because all 3 of us have the same fucking glasses on because we can't wear contacts because they're telling us not to put our fingers in our eyes. But anybody who's ever gone skiing or played paintball with glasses know that once you cover up your nose and your mouth, where does that air go? It goes up. And so your glasses fog up. And so that's another problem.
Got to get some cat crap for your glasses. I actually have some anti-fog something or other I bought a couple of years ago at a gun show. And
Well,
I can't find it.
according to my non-combatant World War II civilian gas mask, the instructions on the filter is to use soap. It actually says rub soap on the inside, wipe it off, and then rub it again, wipe it off. And apparently that's an anti-fog, and I haven't tried it. But
now my glasses are scratched. What the hell's in this soap?
Gary, I'm wondering how many of my friends from Grove City are tuning in who don't follow you on Facebook and saying, "That's not Gary Bone." How much weight have you lost?
192 pounds.
Oh, that's fantastic.
If you guys want the full backstory of Gary and how he achieved the weight loss of 192 pounds in his short stint on a single episode of TMZ, go to failedtofail.com. We did a long form, hour-and-a-half interview on failedtofail.com. Gary talks about his health and how he ended up losing that weight and why. And between the weight loss and the shaved head and the fact you look a little bit like Walter White, half the people who graduated with you or went to school with you who don't follow you on Facebook probably don't even recognize, holy shit, that's Gary.
Yeah, I just look into the camera and say my name.
I am the one who knocks.
I'm the one who knocks.
Fantastic.
Have any of you,
Yeah, I get it all the time, man. I get people that I've known for years, even some family members I may have not have seen for a while, and just walk up and they're like, I'm just like standing right in front of them, and then someone has to like literally introduce
I'm
me.
Sheila. I know, I'm your nephew.
Yeah, it's like, it's all right. I kind of like it. It's kind of nice. Sometimes it's like flying under the radar, so it's fine.
Yeah, now you can be in a bar or the room with someone that you fucked over 10 years ago, and they won't be the wiser, and you're fine. You ain't got to worry about getting a beer bottle in the back of the head.
Right.
Well, now, and that's actually been extended to us all if we wear face masks, right?
Yeah,
right.
We are like super, and I think D-Train brought this up in a video that he put on YouTube, but it is weird going into a store with a mask on, gloves on, and a sidearm.
Dude, every
Yeah,
time I'm sitting in my car and I'm putting the rubber gloves on and I get out and I ain't gonna tell you fuckers where, but where I put my concealed weapon, I do feel like a hitman. It's just first and foremost, the first time you carry a firearm in public legally, trust me, I've never done it illegally, but I just have to put the caveat out there for you hardcore people watching. You feel naughty. You feel like you're breaking every rule that you've been raised up with. You feel so dirty and so like illegal the first time you carry a firearm in public. It's so strange.
You get that endorphin rush like the first time you shot it, right?
No, you're just nervous. You're looking around like, is anybody going to see me? Am I imprinting? I don't want to go to jail.
Tell you what,
I feel
try-
a little power.
Try that open carrying for the first time. Especially when you get a lot of people from California, So
I don't know if this works, but apparently we here in Florida are in a state of emergency, and technically I could open carry because you are allowed to open carry in a state of emergency. Because obviously, here in Florida being a hurricane state, a lot of times when we're in a state of emergency, it's because of hurricanes are coming through, and they really do not want you leaving unsupervised weapons in your homes when you got to evacuate. And so it's kind of hard to conceal all your firearms. And so they just like, screw it. Open carry, do your thing, just secure your firearms and take them with you. And so technically we could open carry right now, but I just don't want to deal with the hassle of it.
Now, if you have a fishing pole, you could do the same thing, right?
Yes. The law is because of, if you're fishing on the banks and you get attacked and pulled into the water by an alligator and you're trying to save your life, you don't want to have to deal with your shirt being over top of your firearm. And so, yes, you can open carry if you're fishing, going fishing, or coming back from fishing. But once again, those are all arguments and debates that I wouldn't want to have to deal with law enforcement on that.
But officer, I'm fishing in a state of an emergency.
There you go. I'm trying to get
got a
food.
twofer,
Head
man.
explodes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw a video about that recently. Some cat down in Naples, and he was being a douche to the cops, and that's the kind of people we don't need out there. I don't open carry anymore because I have my concealed, and the reason is I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't want to have
No
to
pun
get into
intended.
an argument with somebody, and just keep it tucked away.
It's also you're a target in a situation.
Are you though? Because I've heard that, but in the history of the world, have you ever heard a news article that said a guy was targeted by a criminal because he was open carrying?
I mean, maybe not, but I don't want to test it.
I do know-
I don't want to be in that bank and then the bank robber comes in behind me, sees me open carrying, and blasts me in the back of the head with a
It depends on
shotgun 'cause
what
he
state
sees
you're
I have
at.
a gun.
Even
You'd
here,
rather be like a gray operator.
a
or
lot of
something like that.
states, and I think Florida's one of them. Even if you have a permit, you can't carry on a financial institute. So even if you have a concealed carry, you got to leave it in your car.
I carry
It's
everywhere
legal
except for
here.
work.
It's-
I don't care what the
it's
signs
legal
say.
here.
Yeah, right.
You know,
One of
all
the-
it is a suggestion out here, unless it's like a school, a higher learning institution, or a government facility where legislature happens. The only thing they can do is trespass you off.
Yep.
So I don't care what Simon says. the malls. I'm going to do what I need to do to feel safe because you don't want to be caught in a compromising position where you can't defend yourself.
Do you guys we just spent 20 minutes talking about guns, and I don't want to run everybody
Yeah.
off. So let's talk about I don't want to talk about this. I want to say the Civ, but the 19. Are you guys finding you're starting to do things a little more old school and maybe getting back to reading more? You're getting back to doing things that you did maybe 4 or 5 years ago that you haven't done in a while. For example, because the gym's closed. I used to work out in my garage a lot until I found a place that actually charged $10 a month, and then I basically got rid of my equipment. But the gym's closed, and so now I'm working out in my garage more. I'm trying to disconnect. I'm getting back to reading books more. The kids are, board games and things like that. Are there anything in particular that you guys have done or started doing again that you used to do a lot, but due to technology, maybe work, busy schedules, you haven't done much anymore?
I'm still busy working, fortunately, but one of the things I decided today, and I told Katina, I was like, we can't just sit there and watch TV, even though it's not news related. I still sit there and I'm up in my head about everything that's going on and the economic impact. I need to just be doing something. I need to be doing a project. I've been hitting the treadmill. I've been lifting the weights, and I just need to keep active so my mind is off of the anxiety that's been driven into us all lately. And I think that's the thing. Check the news, but maybe twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night before you go. Well, maybe not right before you go to bed because you don't want nightmares, but once in the evening. That's about it. And I haven't quite started reading more yet, but have watched all of Ozark season 3, which was fantastic.
I'm waiting to watch that. Carrie, I watched Ozark when it first came out. I've been up to date on both seasons, but we just finished Better Call Saul, and Carrie was fiending. I'm like, watch Ozark so I can watch season 3. So she's like on season 2, episode 4. She's been binge watching them all day, past couple of days. So, that is such a great show. There is a lot of stuff you got to you got to suspend the disbelief. No spoiler alerts, but in like season 2, when certain people are talking about certain things while one of them's in a prison, and no one hears them talking about these things.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of loud conversations that you find her saying, "Man, they're kind of talking so freely about this shit." Now, one of the things I thought is every season, first season was very intense.
Mm-hmm.
The second season to me ratcheted up the intensity. The third season, the intensity has just gone through the roof. I don't know. I'm going to be in a wreck after the fourth season if it comes back, but and I'm sure it will because the third season. It's fantastic. There's going to be a new actor in there that I think should probably take some awards. And this is the person that plays the brother of the wife.
Gary, have you watched
Marty.
Ozark at all? I'm sure you have.
I actually haven't.
Really?
I have not gotten into it yet. I just finished Altered Carbon's newest season, which is a great show. If you haven't seen Altered Carbon, watch it. It's amazing.
Ozark is kind of like Breaking Bad meets Schitt's Creek meets I don't know, something else. It's a really good show.
Dexter.
Yeah. Did you watch Outsider by any chance?
No.
That was actually based off a Stephen King book where Jason Bateman directed the whole series. And
wow.
I know he directed parts of season 1 of Ozark, and he has a lot to do with it. He's such a great actor. It's a really good show. I think you'd really get into it.
One of the things I like is the title sequence
Yes.
when they bring that cross up and the 4 different symbols.
I had to point that out to
kind
Carrie.
look for.
I'm like, did you notice that the logo screen changes? She's like, no. I'm like, every episode it gives you a hint of something that's going to happen in that particular episode. I see you have a Commando poster on your wall. What's the one behind you? The light's glaring on it.
That's Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
Then I got a RoboCop over here.
I'll buy that for $1.
That's right.
Quite literally.
Yeah, big movie buff. Love movies. I've been watching them. I mean, my dad let me watch things when I was a kid that I shouldn't have been watching.
Sure.
So I've been into the 80s action since I was super young. I mean, Commando, anything Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold can do no wrong in my eye. No matter how bad the movie is, I'm there for it. Speaking of Arnold, he got some flack recently.
Really?
From Howard Stern, of all people, from his Instagram posts about staying at home when he's in his hot tub and everything.
I was going to say, I didn't hear Howard's take on it. I did see, when he first posted it, I saw him on TV and people laughed. I looked at Carrie, I'm like, does he realize 3/4 of the people in this country are cooped up in like 2-bedroom apartments? Yeah. And here he is telling people to stay home with like his pet donkey while sitting in a hot tub smoking a Cuban cigar. And most,
right.
His staying at home is probably the equivalent of what the normal 40-year-old and his wife save up 2 years to go spend a weekend down at Sandals Resort is like. His house is probably similar to something he would live in Sandals Resort. Is that what Howard basically touched on? He's kind of, out of touch?
Yeah, I think that's what he was going with. I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm on the fence about the whole argument because, I mean, listen, the message is sound.
Mm-hmm.
Stay at home. I mean, that's the message. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's lounging back with a cigar in his hot tub. I didn't have any feels about it when I saw that, just because of my feelings for Arnold. Like I said, he can.
Because you're watching it on your laptop in your hot tub while smoking a cigar.
Yeah, I mean, my laptop, in my hot tub with my donkey, my pet donkey, chilling with me.
See, Gordon's a man of the people. He drained his hot tub.
Oh.
I used it the first big weekend, and I was like, this just doesn't feel
cutting
right
cost
now. And I'm cutting costs, just kind of preparing for, Las Vegas is one of the top 3 that's going to be the heaviest hit out of this whole deal. And I'm hoping it turns around before June because I don't know what's going to happen after that. I haven't made the drive down the Strip, but I heard somebody throw a theory out there that this is the time Hollywood should be out there doing their drive-throughs and getting some good filming with no traffic, especially for any future
getting some
movies
B-roll
that may require no traffic at all anyway, and you don't have to shut the city down.
Yeah, getting some good B-roll.
Get some good B-roll, exactly. But it's interesting. There are some more animals turning up on the Strip. I think the big news was 2 geese and their gosling were traveling right down the middle of the strip, and the animals I think are picking up everywhere across the world. Have you seen any of that stuff? Just they're coming into cities and that you don't normally see them in.
Now that you mention it,
But you're surrounded by animals anyway.
I'm surrounded by animals, but one thing I haven't seen, I see them behind my shop because of the canals, but I posted a picture last week. I had a big ass iguana in my backyard that couldn't get out because of the fence, and they finally scared him out.
But lizard in my backyard.
Exactly, but there's this cool. It's kind of sad, but there's this app. It'll show you everywhere in Florida. Each town you can click on to see what the current positive cases are. Right now, in Florida alone, there are 11,545 cases.
Holy shit!
In Lee County, where I live, there's 348. 329 of those are residents. 18 of them are non-residents, i.e., vacationers.
How many deaths in Florida so far?
Well, I can tell you this: in Lee County alone, there's 11.
11.
There's 66 hospitalized, and the cases of the age range of cases. And this is scary because we keep hearing on the news it's old people. Age range from 10 to 100.
Well, sure, but the deaths generally are old people.
Yeah, and the men are. And now I gotta say,
men seem to be getting hit harder.
Well, in Lee County, it's almost split. It's 175 to 170. Now, this being 2020, I got to point out this is kind of presumptuous. There's nothing on here about trans and non-binary people. They need to update this app. I need to know how many non-binaries are getting this.
So I think Las Vegas and Nevada is actually doing a good job. This is our third week on lockdown. And Vegas is a big town. It's a 2.5 mil, but we've got the whole county, which runs all the way down to Laughlin, has a total case load as of today of 137. And
one more cool thing about this app, they're actually detailing the information when you're in the hospital. It actually says resident, not in Florida. So there's a Lee County resident who has it, but he's not currently in the state of Florida. It doesn't say where they're at, but this actually goes down to such great detail to tell you how many residents who are not in that town actually are infected with it.
I have an interesting picture if you guys will allow me to share my screen real quick.
Sure, only if it's you topless, but go ahead.
So this is something that my friend and roommate posted earlier. It's I'm not sure if you can see it right now, but you cannot?
Nope. Okay. I just see your Terminator in your other poster.
Why is it not sharing?
Because we're live and OBS and Skype want to be a pain in the ass. It's not a big deal. There. Oh, nope. Your screen just blew up.
Oh, damn.
No, it's my program. For some reason, it just keeps resizing everybody's photos.
Anyway, I can just kind of explain it. It's a map of cell phone data accesses throughout the country. And it shows basically where cell phones, the data has been accessed outside of normal areas, just basically moving around the data usage. And basically, the Great Lakes states are the only ones that don't show a big, giant step in usage through data. I'll actually tag you on it so you can kind of take a look at it. But it's pretty interesting. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it's pretty interesting.
This is a theory that people are on the move. They're trying to.
People are still moving around. People are still not staying home. Essentially, is what it is.
I need to make a correction. Sorry, I got to make a correction. So Clark County, Nevada, is actually 1,418 cases and 41 deaths. But I still think we're doing decent out here. But anyway, you're right. People need to be at home, right?
Yeah, I think Ohio just hit 100 total deaths in the entire state.
Well, not only at home, but if you're going out, don't be stepping on people's dicks, man. Maintain that 6 foot of separation. I don't care if you think you're hardcore and it ain't going to get you, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
I'm not, for all you know, I might have it. I might have it. Why you want to get up on me? Yeah, exactly. Right. And if I posted a YouTube video, a little tutorial for you guys who don't know how rubber gloves work. When you take the rubber gloves off, they're inside out, which means the contaminated part is now on the inside. So there's no reason to throw them on the ground of the parking lot. Throw that crap. First and foremost, if you're that concerned about it, ask for the people at the grocery store for an extra bag. So when you get your car, you throw them in the bag, tie them in a knot, and throw it away when you get home. Or do what I do. I just throw them on the floorboard of my car, and then when I get home, I pick them up and throw them away. Because once again, the contaminated part of the glove is on the inside. It's not on the outside, unless you're taking your gloves off by pulling it from the fingers.
And what you're touching too, because if your gloves are can be pointless if you're doing a lot of touching. I mean, if you're touching a lot of open surfaces, you have to be changing those gloves out quite frequently. So,
which is one of the problems we see in restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Typically, if somebody's got their gloves on, they're touching this, they're touching that, they're cross-contaminating. I was at a restaurant recently, right before they shut everything down. My favorite place is called Cafe Rio, and the manager came out every few minutes and, hey, change your gloves. Everybody, change your gloves now. And they just kept it up, and I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm burning through them crazy. I'll go to ATM, press the buttons, put stuff in, take it off. I'm like using the glove for like literally 1 minute, but because I'm touching public surfaces, gas pumps, ATM machines. Anytime I go in anywhere that people are putting their grubby hands, I'm wearing the gloves.
Hey, good call, by the way. I went to Advanced Auto today and found their last box of blue nitrile gloves, and I grabbed them in my size. They had a bunch of mediums, but these hands don't fit medium
Yeah, I
gloves.
got the Raven Blacks, and then I'm getting low because I gave a lot of them to the fine people at the my P.O. Box store, because that poor guy, he's dealing with a lot of stuff. So I've probably given him like 20 pairs, and so I went and got a pair of lime green ones. Let's change the subject up a little bit. This one will require you to be honest with yourself, honest with our listeners, and more importantly, being willing to be embarrassed. Have you ever played the role of a rube, a pigeon? Have you been swindled? Has someone taken advantage of you in the past? And why? And while
I'm thinking about it, I'm sure it's
I'll let you
happened.
think about it. I'll give
Absolutely.
you. I'll give you my story. Before I moved to California, I was at the Ohio State Fair, and I was walking. Hey, died in 2016, but he died in prison. He went to prison. But where this came in, and I was walking around Huntington Beach, and another one of these people, oh, you should get into modeling. Here, let me give you my card. And I think it was something like Transcontinental or something. It sounded very similar to the airlines. And this was back in 2005, so the internet was really starting to tune up. And this whole gimmick was, hey, we're on the inside track of all the Hollywood and this and that. You come down here to our office, we'll take some headshots, we'll put you up on our website, and, this is early casting days, blah, blah, blah. And they always tell you that if you're going to get into modeling or casting or whatever, don't pay any money to the agents up front. Don't pay them any money at all, because usually you go out and buy your own headshots and this and that. But long story short, come down on this night. We're going to have photographers down there. We'll get your photo, put it up on the website. You pay us a couple of $100. I went down there, gave them a couple $100, right? And they got all this disco, this loud music going, and these people in there took photos and this and that. And went through the whole thing. Like a week later, I logged on the website, and it's some like grainy ass one photo that was like taken with a Sony CyberShot, which was like maybe, I don't know, half a megapixel. It was such a scam. Like the website was it was nothing. It was so horrible. They're basically running rubes like me through this system, just collecting money after money after money and putting a single grainy ass photo up on their website, and no one was going to this thing. No casting directors were going there, and they were just destroying young, stupid people like me. I was like 21, maybe 22, and they were just cashing checks. And that's why, like I said, he ended up dying in prison because he scammed so many people. That son of a bitch got what he had coming to him. But that was the one time that, I did get taken advantage of it, and I fell for the ruse.
I think the time that and it's nothing as torrid as your story, but the time I feel like I got taken advantage of the most, and unfortunately a lot of people do this, is selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. So, 19 years old, 1993, Columbus, Ohio. Need to find some effing work, right?
Yep.
Somebody, I don't remember who it was, led me to Kirby. Dude, we do great. You're going to make a lot of money. You get that whole hook, line, and sinker. And when you're young, you're hearing money, even if it's, not much in today's cash. And you go in there and you get the sales pitch, and they're pumping up, these $2,600 vacuum cleaners or whatever they were. And you gotta go out, you gotta hit the streets, you gotta go door to door. Okay, now you're a door to door vacuum cleaner salesman. This is fantastic. And basically, yeah, against some of the chicken farms up that way. You know, they're stacked in cages, and I get it. Look, I'd rather have free range chicken. I am more for that anyway. But I just could not bring myself to do that.
What were they paying at the time?
Nothing.
Really?
They were going to. They kind of said you will get paid if you do this and that, and it's just like, quit dangling the carrot, dude.
So it's like
Seriously.
the Joe Exotic employment model. You come down here, work with tigers,
very much,
and
so.
we'll pay you $100 a week.
Yep, the employment model for wayward boys. Absolutely.
I heard he got out of jail. Is that true?
No.
I don't know if it's true. I heard he actually ended up coming down with the fiasco there.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Got the Wu-Tang.
The
The
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang.
I don't know why OBS is freaking out and keep resizing your all's windows. It's insane. I'm like,
Is it because I notice on my end, the one window, it's whoever's talking, it shifts from the other person to the guy talking, and I'm wondering if that's part of the.
I don't know because Gary's not talking at all, and it's resizing, and you're resizing, and it's such a. We're gonna have to maybe try Zoom next week because this is retarded. I know you're not supposed to say that phrase nowadays, but this is ridiculous.
This could be a news article, but I'm not going to use it as news. Speaking of Tiger King, so Tiger King's Jeff Lowe is still a wanted man in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah. So he was a man who illegally cashed in on excited tiger clubs in Las Vegas. Is now a household name thanks to that show, right? So Big Cat owner Jeff Lowe is featured heavily in the series, and it was Channel 13 out here who broke the story about his deal. So back in 2018, he got into some shenanigans. There's actually rumors that they were going to work with. It was either him or the Tiger King himself was going to work with what's his name from Pawn Stars down at the Pawn Plaza. But yeah, he's got some people out here all upset, and it's a story I got to look into a little more before I can have some more detail. But I just thought it was interesting.
Well,
you guys watched the entire Tiger King?
Yeah,
I've seen about 5 minutes. I need to chill out.
You got to watch it.
You got to watch it.
It's the best.
You'll understand about him.
Yeah, it's the best thing since The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Crazy thing is I watch this YouTube channel called Grinds Finds. He goes around to storage units and buys them out. And he just hit 60,000 followers. And that cat and his girlfriend actually did a congratulations video for him. So they're not like keeping a low profile. They're still out there in the open. The Jeff guy, whatever the hell his name is, and his girlfriend.
Jeff Lowe?
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff
he
Lowe.
actually posted, hey, congratulations on your 60,000 followers and on Instagram and all that crap.
The wife he choked out and got charges brought against him on it.
Yeah. He's a swindler and a scammer.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You find out once you watch that whole thing, you'll find out how much of a scam artist that dude is and how much he's flaunting around a bunch of fake money, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
So you think all big cat people are this messed up?
Oh,
have to be.
Episode 1, that one cat, no pun intended, the one guy said that all these big cat people are fucked in the head.
Yeah, the very beginning of it.
Yeah,
dude
Jeff.
Said that.
Hey, we've been quarantined, and like so, we're getting back to doing things we used to do. Can I premiere a song real quick?
Sure.
Will you guys
is this a one instrument song?
Yeah, this is just something I've been working on. Got the guitar out. I wanted to do.
Is it basic?
Yeah, it's a song. It's my ballad to life with COVID-19. So bear with me.
Ow!
What was that?
I just got bit by a cat. Not a big cat, just a little cat.
Ooh, there we go. So this is something I've been working on, putting a lot of effort into it. Hope you guys enjoy it. This is my ballad to COVID-19. Oop, hold on, my chair's in the way here. This isn't exactly band playing environment here. This sucks. Thank you. I've worked really hard on that. I think it really gets to the heart of the matter. I think we can all relate to that. That
Short and sweet.
At the end of the day, this fucking sucks.
It Yeah, it's.
So thanks for.
I don't even know how to wrap my head around this whole situation. I just don't, and that's what's horrible about it. And just the unknown is the biggest part.
Yeah, I don't want to put my foil hat on and go into all the deep dives of what I think is going on.
But it's probably still within reach, right? Got it close by.
Well, as somebody who hosts a historical-based podcast, I've been telling people we are living history. 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be doing interviews with a younger version of me who's doing a historical podcast or a TV show for History Channel 2035. And, when we're 70, 80, and 90, people are going to be tracking us down occasionally whenever the anniversary of the COVID-19 epidemic. And we are living history right now. And it's so crazy to think that this shit's going on. It's just it's so unreal. I haven't even processed it yet. It's just, I don't even know what to do.
In the year 2020.
Yeah. I was out
horrible.
Grocery store the other day, and it was so surreal. Like a friend of mine and I were just in the wine aisle, and then instead of the Muzak above, that usually comes out of the grocery store at the Kroger's, it's the keep 6 feet distance, wash your hands, and all this other stuff. It's just like this weird, surreal message going over as you're sitting there grocery shopping. And we both looked at each other like, are we in a movie right now? Because it's just, everything just feels so weird. It's like a film over everything.
We hear
to top that off as if REM's The End of the World as We Know It came on right after that.
We here at Kroger are concerned about our health, and we're looking out for your best interest. That's why we want to remind you to maintain the 6 feet of separation. And if at all possible, please wear a mask. Yeah, it's great. I heard something like
Must
that.
Must have been there.
It's funny you mentioned you were shopping at Myers, and that's a regional store. For those of you playing at home, Myers is a step. Myers is right there in between Target and Walmart. I think it's a little low. I think it's a little lower than. I think it's it's Walmart, Meijer, and then when you're a big baller, you shop at Target. I think it's Myers is right there in between the two.
I hate Target.
I don't care for Target. It's too much red. It just makes me
red, and it just feel like I need to put my monocle in when I walk in there. It's just like I'm just trying to buy some gift cards.
Pull out your pocket watch and see how much time you got.
Oh, look what time it is. It's Target time.
Gordon, I don't think we really need to get in the news. I think people are newsed out.
I do got a couple of interesting ones though.
Okay, well here let's do it to it and keep the format on the new What's in Your Head podcast.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas,
is it playing?
Nevada,
Yep.
Gordon Abernathy.
Hey, Gordon, what's going on tonight?
A British man runs a marathon in his backyard during lockdown.
How many laps was that?
7,000, I believe.
His Strava map, it just had to be a big red blob.
Yeah, exactly. So James Campbell who is a former professional javelin thrower, which is something you don't hear very often, spent his 32nd birthday on Wednesday doing a 6-meter or 20-foot shuttles from one end of his small backyard to the other after promising to run a marathon on one of his Twitter messages, which received 10,000 retweets.
So what do you do for a living, handsome? I'm a professional javelin thrower.
You have to admit, there's some swagger to that, though.
What? Okay.
I throw spears.
I guess the manufacturer of the spear would pay you. Perhaps the manufacturer of the shoes. But how much equipment is required?
Zombie apocalypse. Who would you want a professional javelin thrower on your team?
No, I want the sharpshooter from the triathlon.
Yeah.
The guy who's proficient with a 22.
Though.
Yeah, short distances. How far does a javelin thrower run? 30 yards?
Well, he did run a marathon in his backyard. So.
Yeah, what was his pace? It's hard to maintain a good pace when you're walking 50 feet. When I did my half marathon,
D-Train's talking big. Let's see if you run a half marathon in your backyard.
I ran a half marathon for the first 10 miles. My pace was a 9:40. I ran a 9-minute and 40-minute mile for 10 miles straight before I hit the wall.
Well, check this out. So by time he completed this marathon in just over 5 hours,
his grass was dead.
5 hours, he raised more than $22,000 for Britain's National Health Service to help battle the pandemic.
That's a good cause, I guess.
Absolutely. So, as much as we
Technically,
wanna
if you were
bust
doing the
balls-
news over in Europe, you would have to say he ran a half marathon in his garden. I think they always refer to the backyard as the garden.
I want to know if he had a groove like Scrooge McDuck. You remember in DuckTales when he would be in a circle in the groove? I
Yep.
wonder if that's what's going on.
He worked in a trench in his yard.
Kind of like the
Right.
dog that's on the leash in the backyard for 2 years and got the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it literally was 7,000 times back and forth.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's insane. So, and then just a couple more quick things. I'm not going to go into real newsy stuff, but some of the false coronavirus claims and phony remedies that's been out there. See if you've heard
The blow dryer one, is that on there?
I don't know yet, but how about the eating alkaline foods will stave off novel coronavirus, which has a pH level of 5.5 to 8.5?
What foods does that consist of? Like sauerkraut?
Anything high in alkaline? Now you're going to ask me a question. I got to scroll down.
Well,
for.
I've never heard anybody refer to alkaline-based foods when talking about I'm on keto or I don't eat alkaline. I never heard. I didn't even know that was a thing. When you hear alkaline, you think of fucking Duracell.
Well, part of the problem is some of these foods on the list are actually the opposite in pH, and you hold on to your hats or your glasses. On the list included lemons, limes, and pineapples. Aren't those highly acidic?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just amazing, some of the stuff people fall for. Let's see. Claim drinking alcoholic beverages can prevent the coronavirus.
Sweet. Pickle me up.
So,
Gary, real
fact
quick,
is-
I hate to interrupt the news, but inquiring minds want to know: do you use a normal Bic on the head, or do you got the little thing with the wheels and the that's convex that goes along the head? I mean, what utensil does one use to get that close of a shave on their nugget?
I just use one of those Harry's razors.
It's got the wheels on it.
They're
They're like.
No, it's just a normal one.
Have you seen those? They have the ones that are like they're convex and they have like little wheels on them. And you just kind of go right along the skull.
I don't know. It just seems like an unnecessary expense right now for like a special razor like that. I'm trying to tighten the belt just in case anything bad happens.
You
Save
you're
that money
talking
for
Harry's, but
ammunition.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm a long-time member of Dollar Shave Club. Not that you
Same
can tell.
here.
My hair's thinning out. Oh my god.
Welcome.
I don't know if it's.
Wait till you get here.
I don't know if
Hopefully
it's-
you don't ever get this.
I don't know if it's because it's thinning out or because the roots are turning white and my hair's growing out. But like when I do these videos of me doing my handstand push-ups that I'm compiling, so I can do a time-lapse footage from when I started to when I get to 20. If I don't have my hat on, I can see my fucking scalp real bad. It's like my hair is thinning out. Oh my god, I'm gonna be there one day where I'm gonna have to shave it off. And that's the other thing right now is we're all apparently you don't have a problem, but the rest of the world we're having problems with our hair growing out, not getting to a barber. My hair's a hot mess, and I'm growing out my beard. I'm gonna wait until this thing's over before I clean it up and shave. I want to see how like I look like a
couldn't do it.
prospector when it's all said and done.
I couldn't do it. I tried, and I was like, nah, I can't.
I just hate when it gets so long that you like start biting the hairs on above your lip. Start pulling it
Exactly.
out.
That was part of the problem. And I use beard oil, yes, and the stuff just to keep the itching down, right? And it was going crazy. So it's like, I got to trim this up. I'm still going to work. I'm still in a professional environment. So now if I go on total lockdown, that'll be a different story.
What'd you cook for dinner tonight?
Me?
Both of you.
Well, I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh
so
yeah, you're
I'm
on
3 hours
What are
behind
you cooking for dinner tonight?
I am going to make a horrible meal of spaghetti and meatballs. Katina cannot have tomatoes or any acidic foods, which is horrible because that's like her favorite. So she's going to have it in white sauce, but I'm going to have some nice tomato sauce on mine.
What about you, Gary? What'd you have for dinner tonight?
I splurged and had a little KFC. So I had a
Ooh.
couple
God,
chicken
You
wings.
know, every time I've gone the last 10 years, I've been disappointed.
Yeah.
So unless it's either overcooked or just shit wrong,
I just have such a restrictive diet. I even when if I don't want to cook at home,
Mhm.
like my choices for fast food, especially now since it's all got to be drive through, like on a spur of the moment.
Right.
It's like Chipotle, KFC, Jersey Mike's, and Subway. That's literally
Chipotle
it.
cannot roll a
Can you do the
burrito.
Raising Canes? Do y'all have Raising Canes up there?
We do, but it's got too much breading on it.
You can
Too much
walk into
breading.
any Chipotle, grab their employee, and put a gun to their fucking head and say, "Roll me a burrito that I can eat that doesn't fall apart," and every one of them would fail. I've gone to
Right.
4 Chipotle, and none of the, and I even went there. I told Lady, I said, "Hey, this is the 3rd Chipotle I've been to, and every one of them I had to eat my burrito with a fork." And you're talking to a guy who lived in California for 3 years. I know a thing or two about burritos. I said, "This is your chance to make me a burrito." And she looked at the guy next to her like, "Aaron, it's up to you." And she's like, "He's gonna mess it up." He did. I finished.
Well,
it.
you know,
I
their
stopped going
training
back.
video.
I stopped
They've
going.
got a training video that probably says, "You know how to roll a burrito? Well, now you're going to learn how not to do it."
Not, if you
And,
guys want to see the best training video of all time, and I actually experienced this in real time when I worked at Wendy's on Stringtown Road, the Wendy's grill training video, it's all done in 1990s hip hop style, and the young African American grill attendant has a golden spatula. This video is on YouTube. It is so dated. It is so at the time, and people are sitting there watching and laughing at it. But I actually was trained with that video to work the grill at Wendy's on Stringtown Road. But do yourself a favor, at 3 o'clock tonight when you can't sleep and you're going down the YouTube wormhole after you watched all my videos, of course, and look for the Wendy's grill training video and just behold the
I watched the same
majesty
video.
of this fucking video. It's just so insulting. It's just so horrible. It gets the point across. You'll learn how to cook the perfect fucking patty. But to answer the question, I went full blown Ohio today. I made Barnyard Busters.
There you go. Hey, speaking of Ohio, I got one more story.
How
It's
are you
not
just going to
COVID
step over the
related.
fact that I made Barnyard Busters for dinner? Oh, okay.
Breeze right
So we're
past it.
Well, right back. Go ahead. How was your Barnyard Buster? And what's in a Barnyard Buster for those who don't know?
well. Is TJ still around, Gary?
Oh yeah.
So for those you don't know, there's a place in Ohio called TJ's and open 24 hours. And I'm sure with inflation and the economy going to the shithole, the price of a Barnyard Buster is probably $5 now. But back in the 90s, it was like $2.50. And so what we would all do when you're 21 and you spent all night at the bar spending all your money and you're half drunk is everybody would go to TJ's and order Barnyard Busters for $2.50. And what it was, and still is, I don't know what the price is now, it's a big-ass plate of sausage, biscuits, gravy, hash browns, eggs, and it's all mixed. It's just all compiled together. Now, tonight, I just realized I didn't make the hash browns. So tonight, I just made eggs, biscuits, and gravy and mixed it all together. I forgot the hash browns. But because you can't get those down here, whenever I go to a Denny's or wherever, I always order off the menu and I make my own Barnyard Busters. But it's the best $2.50 you'll ever spend, and it's always great time because there's always debauchery going on there at TJ's, because especially on the west side of Columbus, because you have all the white trash coming home from the bar, super drunk, and they're buying cheap food. I miss Barnyard Busters so much that I made one tonight. But yeah, it's sausage, biscuits, eggs, hash browns, and gravy, just all mixed together. Big old pile. It's the best thing ever.
I may have said this before, but that's the way I judge a breakfast restaurant is I will get sausage, biscuits, and gravy. I'll get sausage, and I'll get some over easy eggs and put them right on top of it. And that's what I have always done. And if you can't make a good biscuits, and I'm sorry, Gary, but if you can't make a good biscuits and gravy, then I'm not coming back. You know, it's not.
$6.50 is what they cost now, by the way.
Inflation is a motherfucker.
Break the bank.
Still, literally one of the cheapest things on the menu, though. So
It's so funny when people don't realize that the reason, I remember like 2 years ago, I was standing in line at a 7-Eleven, and a guy was complaining about the price of the 99-cent donut. Back in my day, it's like, yeah, dude, it's called inflation and the value of the dollar's gone down. That's why the donut is no longer 35 cents, because of the price of it, of the flour and everything else that goes into it. It's just, it's always so funny when the people get like, they're marking it. No, they're not marking it up. The value of the dollar is not what it was 20 years ago, fella.
that's why I'm praying for the gold standard to come back. Still hoping for that. I think that's one of my my foil hat situations with this whole COVID thing is that
Really, I thought somebody
Trump's
in
going to
your
bring back the gold standard.
I thought somebody in your line of work and your fund that you'd be more into this digital currency, the bitcoins and all that.
That's so volatile. It's the worst. I don't know. I never got it. I never bought into it. I caught the hype train at first when it was up there. Then after talked to some people, I just Yeah, it's not.
You relied on the old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
I always like the
Right.
commercials, like the people selling the silver and the gold and all that. Like, the dollar is not reliable. It could collapse at any time. That's why you need to invest in gold and silver, precious metals. That's why right now I will sell you my super valuable gold and silver and precious metals for your worthless dollar bills. So please send me your worthless dollars that could collapse at any time, and I will give you the key to the future.
Exactly.
It's like, well, if it's so goddamn valuable and if paper currency sucks so much, why are you so willing to sell me your valuable shit for my worthless currency? It's just always so funny.
It's funny is
Go ahead. Sorry.
out here in Vegas, that's one of the. So pawn shops are considered essential. Now, the people who are fighting to be considered essential is those gold and
casinos?
silver shops.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not considered essential. So they're like, what the hell? Why can a pawn shop be essential and I can't? It's essentially the same thing. But, it's just, it's funny.
Well, before we wrap up the
an ounce
show,
of gold is $1,600 right now.
Whew. I have no ounces of gold, so.
remember the good old days when an ounce of weed cost more than an ounce of gold? There was actually a show, I think, who the hell is that guy who always does it? Was like, what the fuck's his name? John Stossel, I think it was. He did a show like in the late 90s, it's called something like that. It was actually talking about how at that time the price of weed per ounce or like per pound was actually more expensive than what gold was back then. But anywho, I digress. Before we wrap up the show, Gary, I was talking to you earlier. I gave you the homework assignment, if you did or not, to if you had anything you want. Is there anything you wanted to discuss? I didn't want to waste your time if you actually researched stuff. Or are you good?
No, we covered a lot of it. I was going to bring up a little notation of how just to pay attention for whoever you're working for and how they're treating you in this time right now. I'm having a little kind of like my ground's being shaken a little bit with the company I've been working for the past 2 decades.
Jesus.
With how things are going during the COVID crisis, and things are being uncovered and things are making me scratch my head a little bit. So it's just I hope everybody's watching how their employers are treating them during this crisis right now, and just kind of keep your head on the swivel and don't let them forget if they are mistreating you during this whole situation. So,
well, tune in next weekend for another episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. I will hopefully have some information for you young business, small business people. Monday, I'm going to try to start my way down the road of the SBA, what are they calling it? Anyhow, the loans the government are giving out to small businesses with 500 or less employees to help with payroll and all that. At Computers is a small business. And speaking of At Computers, as I mentioned on this week's episode of the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, I have way too many podcasts to start with W's in the word what's. But anyhow, What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, World War II based podcast. I sat down for an hour and talked to the public relations specialist for the Goodyear blimp, Mr. Ed Ogden, and we talked about actually how the Navy was using Goodyear blimps during World War II to escort and do lookouts, and that's going to be available on Monday at WTSPWorldWar2.com. But as I said on What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, right now is not the time to beat you over the head with trying to get you to join my Patreon and give me money or buying t-shirts and all that. But I do want to say thanks so much for At Computers for continually sponsoring all of our podcasts and making all this stuff possible. And if for some reason you do need services like online backups or two-form authentications, Gary can tell you right now, remote desktop is the least secure way you can access your network or your computer. It just opens up. I don't care if you think you're tricky and you're changing the port numbers, using the red to edit, they'll get in. If you don't want to use like a splash top or go to my PC, log me in. If your company's dead set on using remote desktop, Duo two-form authentication is super cheap. You put it on your server, you put it on your workstation computer, and it's just like the first time you access your Gmail from a new device. Your phone pops up and says, hey, is this you? Same thing, you click on it. If you don't click on it, it does not allow access. If someone tries it 3 or 4 times, it just shuts the shit down. It's the best way to secure your computer. If you need those services, especially in times like this, give At Computers a call. They can help you out. But more importantly, people are working at home. We're relying on our computers heavily. The ransomware is out there. It's coming back hard. These fuckers are out there, and they're, it's not good to cuss during a spot, but these guys are out there, and they're encrypting your network. And you can back up all you want with hard drives and NAS servers on your local network, but these things are worms. They're going to go through your network and encrypt all your backups, anything plugged into that computer. Online backup's the way to go. So make sure your data is secure, whether it's with At Computers or anybody else. It doesn't matter. You know, everything's changing. We're relying on our computers to do our work. We're relying on our computers to do our schoolwork. Our kids are doing work from home. God, I feel sorry for parents. It's been a nightmare. We just went through the first week of homeschooling with Nugget, and it's insane. And the fact that Carrie's a teacher, and she teaches her class out of this studio, and then we're dealing with Nugget all day. But anyhow, all these things At Computers can help you out with. Just 239-283-1120. I'm not going to hit you with the hard sell because right now everybody needs to save all their money for toilet paper and food. But I just want to say thank you, At Computers, for making sure that all these podcasts are still going through this hard time. And like I said, hopefully next week I'll have some information of how hard or how easy it is to get some of these stimulus loans for small businesses. And I want to thank you guys so much. And thank you, Aaron Forum from Shoot Center, for joining us for the first half of the show and talking to us. Thank you to Gary Bone. And thank you, Gordon Abernathy, as always, coming into you live from Las Vegas. And now, if you guys want, go to d-410.com like always, or you can go to What's In. That's the letter N, not the word I, N, or the word N, but what's the letter N, yourhead.com will take you right to the page, or you can go through d-410.com like always. And thank you guys so much. And as I said earlier, nothing's really changed but the name and the fact that Dave's not here. We're still building the show. We're hopefully going to make it better than it ever was. And thank you guys so much to the OG5. Speaking of the OG5, if you are a member of Patreon, I did post some videos and some updates today, so go check that out. But thank you guys so much. And Gary, where can people find you?
I don't know. The internet? If they want to follow me on Twitter, they can hit me up there. Twitter is at GB_IRL.
This guy has one video on his YouTube channel and has like 5 times the subscribers that I do. And I have like 123 videos. I have 123 videos and he has one. And he has like,
maybe you need to.
He has like 2,000 followers.
Train.
He's got enough followers to monetize, but he has one video up.
Yeah.
I don't know how he pulled that off, but I'm super jealous of that. But anyhow, thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap it up. We've gone super long. I know Carrie's in there waiting to stream the next episode of Ozarks. She's doing us a favor. Last week, the video quality sucked, and it turns out not only was Carrie streaming video while we were streaming, but Nugget was too. So not only was I sending data to the cloud, to the sky to